Great opportunity for us. Excited to get back out there today or practice. Great challenge for us to play University of Delaware. It's a program I'm very familiar with that I've coached against a lot in the past. Ryan Carty being the head coach. Great challenge for us. They do a good job. They're well coached. They got skill at all the different levels. A little bit unique, compared to some of the teams that we've played this year, and the fact that you would think that they throw the ball a little bit more. When you look at them statistically, averaging about 42, 43 throws a game, compared to most Sunbelt teams where they're really looking more to run the football, that we've faced. But it'll be a good challenge for us, and we're excited. We're excited to have everybody available, right? Guys getting skipped back. It's a big, big, big thing for that young man, and I'm happy for him, that he's back with us because, get the chance to play his last college football game with his teammates is a special thing. So I'm really fired up for him and looking forward to the challenge. So any questions?
From a, pass rush standpoint, obviously you want to get sacks, like when you get into the quarterback, but like when you're coaching the guys this week, is it more about just getting pressure to the quarterback to get him off his spot, to get them out of rhythm? Or is it simply like get back there, get the sack, and then make it happen?
I think it always comes down to affecting the quarterback. And like you said, we want sacks. Sometimes that's not going to be the case, but if we affect the quarterback, whether that is getting him off the spot, getting in his face, forcing a tougher throw, those are the big things. And if we can get a sack, obviously we want to take as many as we can get. That can change the game, and hopefully get the ball out while we're doing it. But it always comes down to affecting the quarterback, and there's multiple ways of doing that. And whether that is with the rush and then also with the coverage and being able to change some things up and make the quarterback have to work while he's in his drop and not making things easy for him. So that's how we're going to try to get it done.
How much of their pass protection is getting the ball out quick? Or do they depend more on the offensive line like ours?
I think they still depend on the offensive line. They have some different things that they do. Some of the concepts are the same that we've seen that a lot of offenses run, no matter what type of style they're in, or if it's a tempo or, take your time. They're going to run some of those concepts, but they do a good job of pushing the ball down the field as well. And that takes time, right? So that is good for us, right? When plays take a little bit more time, that buys a little bit more time for your rush. Right? And if we can help the rush as well with our coverage and with our looks, that also helps because now the quarterback might hold it a split second longer, which opens up some things for that pass rush to get there. So they're always, those two things are tied together. Everyone thinks that, hey, well, if you just have a great pass rush, but they're tied together. And when the rush and the coverage are working together, that's when good things are happening. And that's what we're hoping for as we're preparing here these next few days, and then when we get out there and finalizing it before we play on Wednesday night.
How much more confident are you in your secondary with Skip back, given his leadership that he provided towards the beginning of the season?
Yeah, I think that, getting him back is big just because of the experience that he has and how much he's played. All of our guys have grown up, whether they're some freshmen that have played or our older guys that have played a bunch of football. So, the big thing for us is just making sure that we're all on the same page and we keep the ball in front of us and we don't let the ball over our head. When that happens and when we do that, we're pretty good, right? The biggest thing is just consistently being in that position. And we've grown from it, and like anyone else, they're studying us like we're studying them. We know what's coming, right? It's just a matter of being in place and doing the right thing. And we got a bunch of good kids, the veterans that are with us, but also there's some good young guys that have had a chance to play. And that's good for the future of this program too.
So is it a chance that all of those guys would play or the younger guys may not play as much in this game because
there's a chance that all those guys will play. Yeah, and that'll take place starting today with our practices and then as we work through the rest of the week. And then by the time we get to game time, we'll see who's out there when that opportunity starts, on Wednesday night.
You touched a little bit on Tyree Skipper and getting him back. I want to ask Coach a little while ago. He was almost emotional, borderline emotional. Can you talk a little about what it was like when you got that phone call, knowing that Tyree is going to be able to come back?
Yeah, well, I can see why Coach was emotional. He's got a little bit deeper of a relationship. He's been with Skip for the last, I think, 6-7 years now that he's been part of the program. I've been with him for 2. When Coach told me before I saw him, I was very happy, because nobody should have to go through that. And a lot of things happened that came along with those suspensions for that game after Texas State. But when I got to speak with him and I FaceTimed him, right, in today's day and age where I wanted to see his face. And he was already working out. He's been doing everything. You wouldn't know that he's been suspended. He's been unbelievable. And when he picked up the phone and I told him, I was like, hey, and he's like, Coach, he said, we're going to be able to do this one more time together. And that's special. So, I'm just glad he gets a chance to do that, because I'm a dad, right? Nobody wants that for their kid. And he's done a lot for this place, so it's big.
Coach, can you talk about the growth that you've seen from, all the players from the beginning of the season to now as you guys are preparing for this bowl game?
I think the growth of our team and our defense, I'll start with the defense. I mean, it's come a long way. There's been some times like all of us coming in, even after a win, and be like, how did that happen? The end of the game of some of the games like Texas State or even South Al, where you're up a bunch of scores, all of a sudden they're back in it. And, so there's been some ups and downs, but I think we've grown from it. The one thing I can tell you about these kids is they don't stop. Nobody flinches. Everybody thought, there wasn't one guy on that field that didn't think, and you guys that were at that Arkansas State game when we came over to the sideline before that goal line stand, like there wasn't one player that was looking me in the eye that didn't know what to do or knew what was coming and didn't believe that we were going to win, right? That to me is the growth of our defense and the leadership of guys like Skip and Jay Law and the rest of the guys up front that, as a coach, you're proud of, right? Has it been perfect? No. But proud of the guys and the way they come, as a team, just seeing where we started to, where we are, just like Coach said, 2-6 and the writing on the wall is not looking good, but nobody flinched, and to see the development of, Lunch. I remember you asking me about all the quarterbacks. I don't know what week that was in the beginning of the season, but and seeing him come out, Marshall, when we're down big, and then to flip the script and come out of there with a win, even for us against JMU, you're sitting there watching that they're going to play in a playoff. Well, I'm watching that cut up the other day, getting ready for these guys, and it's 14-14 in the fourth quarter. So we're not far off, and the team has grown tremendously, and that starts up top with Coach Des and the leadership. These kids believe, and we've been bumped, we've been knocked down, but they just keep getting up and they keep fighting. And for us to get 4 in a row with a chance to get 5 here, right, on Wednesday night, that's what it's all about, and head on into the offseason on a great note.
And what's the message you're going to tell your players before you guys even head out to Alabama? We got one more practice today for you guys to go out there and play on Wednesday. What's the message you tell them?
The message for us is we're going to play hard, we're going to play fast, we're going to play free, right, and we're going to play for each other. That's the biggest thing, and to believe, because there's going to be adversity. I tell them every way, something's going, that we think everything's just going to come out perfect. We're going to win 40-0. That hasn't happened, right? But we're going to stay together, and we're going to find a way to win. That's the bottom line. At the end of the day, we're going to want to hold that championship trophy up right there in Mobile on that field. We're going back to where it all started. That's the one thing. Like, this streak started in Mobile, and it'd be something to finish it right there.
So you mentioned how the Sunbelt teams run it more. They're more of a pass-first team. A lot of the big plays that y'all gave up, I'm assuming because of misrepresenting the being sucked in by the run. So is it possible that y'all actually match up with this type of passing offense more than some of the passing offenses that have given you trouble, like Texas State?
I don't know if we match if the style of their offense. I think they're just the mentality, I would say, is just a little bit different than a lot of the Sun Belt teams compared to like they want to come out and run it a little bit more. This team, their numbers say that they're going to throw it more. And that's how we have to prepare for it. Now, let's not get anything twisted. Day one, stop the run, right? We don't need that thing to start off on the other side of it, because then now you're facing a whole different ball game that you got to stop. So at the end of the day, we still got to stop the run first. They're going to try to run the football, right? They got good running backs, so we got to stop the run. And then at the end of the day, when they throw it down the field, right, like, let's go, man. We got to make plays on the ball. When you're there, make them, right? And there's no freebies, right? Because our defense is built upon no explosive plays, right? So, and we've talked about how the year has gone. So those guys know it, and the expectation of what's expected on Wednesday night.
With the lack of experience that the Cajuns have had playing a team like Delaware, how much has Coach been picking your brain about what he can get off of knowing about Delaware from your experience?
He's talked to us. One other thing too is like Clayton Carlin on our staff. He's worked with their offensive coordinator and their head coach. They were all together at Sam Houston, so you kind of get a little bit of some background. I've known about Ryan Carty from his days at New Hampshire all the way until where he's at now, and the people that he's learned from. So it kind of gives you kind of have a little bit of idea of what they're about, how they do things. But Delaware is a unbelievable institution with great history and tradition, from Coach Raymond to Casey Keeler, and to this day, they got a great fan base. They travel well, and they're a well-coached team. So it's going to be a great challenge for us. I'm excited about it. I know it's their first bowl game, and I'm sure they're going to be excited about it too. And it's going to be a great opportunity. Play on national TV. What more could you ask for?
Right. Couple guys that you coached that are going to be seniors playing their last game. I've been so impressed with Jordan Lawson, really his whole time here, but this year, I'm sure when you're watching on film down the stretch, how hard he's played. Just talk about him.
What a great young man. When I first got here, the relationship, I got here so fast, and we're right in spring ball, so you're trying to get to learn everybody. But within these last 2 seasons, I've really gotten to know him a little bit better. And he is such a great young man. This guy comes to work every day. He's very talented, and you would never know it. There's no highs or too lows emotionally. Like, he's kind of even keel. Now, when he comes to play, it's a whole different ball game. But his personality on the field, Jordan's kind of pretty steady. But we've gotten to know each other pretty well, I would say, these last 2 years, and it's just been a pleasure to coach a young man. We're going to miss him, but we got one more with him. And like I told the whole rest of the defense, is we need to send these guys out on the right note, just like we did on senior day. And now it's the bowl game. And we need to send these guys out on a proper note and make it 5 in a row.
Do you see NFL potential with him?
I do.
He does a lot of things.
I do. He does a lot of things well. I've gotten a lot of calls on him. There's a lot of people looking at him. And hopefully he'll be playing in one of these all-star games and get the opportunity to get himself into one of these teams' camps, because he's going to impress people by his work ethic. Very smart, knows the game, picks up our defense. Like, he's not a guy that makes mistakes, and that's going to give him that opportunity.
One other guy, I remember when you got here, they just changed Terrence Williams from running back to linebacker, and it still was kind of a slow process. He's kind of gotten lost in the shuffle, but he's got a lot of tackles, a lot of plays. Let's talk about his progress this year in that position.
It's the same. What a great young man Terrence Williams is. He has played a ton for us, has made a ton of plays, coming in from last year where he didn't play a lot. He was kind of rolling in here and there, and he's taken this position and become a leader on our defense. And I'm proud of him, because after last year, there wasn't as much, If he wasn't sure, he had to earn the right, as we say on our defense. He earned the right to start. He earned the right to play a lot. And that's what it's all about. You know, things like that when you're a coach, you know, that make you proud. And I'm excited for him. You know, he's got one more game here, right, in the vermilion and white, and he's going to go out on a top note, man. That's the way we're going to send him out on Wednesday night.
Go ahead.
Going back to the game, from what you've seen, what makes this highly efficient offense in the passing game unique compared to what we face in the Sun Belt?
I think they're going to spread you out a little bit more so. They'll even put the tight ends out wide. They do a lot of different things passing wise, concepts, right? High lows, sprint out. They'll sprint out to the field a lot. They'll give you some gimmick plays, right? They've shown up. They're going to give you some oddball formations. Like, you guys will look out there on one of the play and you'll be like, what is this? You know, how they get lined up, something funky. And you got to be prepared for it, That's the biggest thing I would say with them. Their receivers are good. They spread them out. It's not like they just have one guy. They're going to target a lot of them. The quarterback will get it around all of them. And they'll give us a good challenge. And the tight end's a good player too. They'll give you a little bit of 12 where you got two tight ends on the field, but most of the time it's going to be three wideouts and a tight end on the field with a running back.
So are you going to have to play a lot of packages that you don't normally play a whole lot because of that?
No.
Because of the majority of being 11, we'll be in a lot of nickel. We'll also be in some base, where we'll have three linebackers on the field and just four DBs, especially if they're giving us some 12 personnel. But that's the majority of what they do, unless they get down in the goal line area, and they bring in a bunch of big people, But everything else, like in the middle of the open field, it's going to be at least probably three receivers. Occasionally there'll be two tight ends and two receivers, but that's what they are.
Is there anything you've seen, like maybe that's unique about this offense that you guys are going to try and pinpoint on in the scouting report from their offense?
Nothing unique, just some of the things that I hit on, like they do some oddball things that you have to be prepared so that you can get lined up and play. But those are things that show up here and there. It's not like they stay in it the whole time where you're like, oh gosh, we need to get a different package, or we need a bunch of more DBs or more D linemen in the game. Not so much that. It's just, being prepared for the oddball stuff, because one, it's funky and it's something new. So you could look at one game and they did this, and the next game it's something totally opposite. And then the next game it's something totally opposite. So your rules and your fundamentals got to take over, right, in your defense, right? We always say, hey, this call, we can play it versus everything. It don't matter if they come out in, 12, 13, it doesn't matter, right? So your rules and your fundamentals got to take over in a game like this, where if you're getting that kind of stuff, you got to just be able to get lined up and play. And that's what it's going to come down to, because you don't know when it's coming. It's not like, oh, they only do that on this part of the field. They'll do it backed up. They'll do it going in the red zone. They'll do it in the middle of the field. So you just got to be ready for all of it.